Today I fucked up by ripping ass in front of my fiancée. This happened earlier today. Some preface: I work as an intern for a law firm. Part of my duties are listening to audio tapes from discovery files. Because the voices in the recordings are often muffled by background/extraneous noise, I have to use noise-cancelling headphones to block out any noise from my surroundings and environment, not to mention confidentiality purposes. Because of this, I am oblivious to my surroundings and environment when I start working. My fiancé's dad is a genius in the kitchen. The man worked in the restaurant business for a good portion of his life and can craft some dishes that slap. Tonight, he made some buffalo mac and cheese that was bangin'. Wolfed it down as I hadn't eaten all day and even went back for seconds and thirds. The golden pastu is my weakness. No boxed Kraft mac, this was the real deal and I was going to carpe that mac. Cue the fuck up. I am lactose intolerant. Whenever I eat dairy, my guts start speaking the language of the whales and biohazardous smells banned by the Geneva Convention are sure to ensue. But, I can't help myself. I will take the pain for a tall boy of milk and I will turn myself into lactose Chernobyl for some of that golden pasta. Jamie Lannister voice, the things we do for love. After my Mac feast, and back home, I go to the office and begin to work. Headphones on, world out. I can already feel my stomach begging, nay, pleading for a flatulent release. So I release a cursory shot that I cannot hear, but Lord Almighty I could feel relief, but not entirely. I can tell this is going to be a long night. Now, normally, my fiancée leaves me alone while I'm working, but every once in a while she will come and check on me and be supportive, which in most circumstances is fine. But, not on dairy nights. And I wish not this night. She came in, much to my obliviousness and later to my dismay, to surprise me with what I can only assume to be a hug, because as I see her arms entering the peripheries of my vision, a chain reaction of gases begins in my bowels and forcibly, nay violently, escapes into the ether. I have never so much as tooted in front of my fiancée since we have known each other, let alone shown her what the depths of dairy could do to me. Her face said 1,000 words without uttering a single one. Shock, disgust, horror. How could her sweet angel create such an earth-shattering sound like Gabriel blowing his trumpet to summon the great old one in my stomach? But, the horror had just begun as the smell then breached her nostrils. I swear I saw a tear form in her eye. From the smell or from the knowledge that her beloved could release such vileness into the world, I will never know. I ripped my headphones off to apologize for revealing the depravity of my intolerance, but she was already gone. I am currently isolating in the office, unwilling to face the music of my stomach. TL, Doctor, I ate mac and cheese despite being lactose intolerant and ripped massive ass in front of my fiancée for the first time in our relationship. Update, the tear in her eye was caused by the onset of her hysterical laughter shortly after she departed the room. She made explicit note of the fact that the stench was indescribably revolting and hearing me rip ass for the first time in manner so shocking in magnitude caught her off guard. However, we were able to share a laugh about it and made a pact that I would not eat dairy on the wedding day and subject both of our families to that ordeal. Fart sharing is a necessary step in committed relationships. If you haven't smelled her fart yet, you should. Write that down, kids. It'll be on the test. I'm a girl and my husband, then BF, had the pleasure of watching me projectile vomit all over his car from food poisoning, then proceed to shit my pants. He married me a year and a half later. Even after I let out some exorcist-style vomit and diarrhea all over his beloved Jeep, he even stayed at my house that night to make sure I was okay and to take care of my son while I buried my head into the porcelain throne. If he could survive that, she will be able to survive the fart, I promise. He did my laundry while I showered and cleaned up both my bathroom of all the gore and then his car, tucked my into bed with ginger ale, Gatorade and water on my nightstand, paid the babysitter, sent her home, put my son to bed, made him breakfast in the morning and played video games with him while I slept. Knew that night he was completely invested in the relationship and knew I was going to marry him. He experienced something so horrific, so humiliating, so grotesque and disturbing, yet he stood by my side and in July we will be married for 6 years. There's an over-the-counter enzyme that you can buy that will break down the lactose for you and prevent things like this from happening. I think it's called Lactaid. So your FU is really not buying this stuff and using it when you eat dairy. Lactaid is a brand. What op should look for is lactase, which is the enzyme. The doses can be a little weird. Different brands have different strengths, so you need to find the right dosage for you. But yeah, probably saved my marriage. Smile. You cannot, I repeat cannot, get married without having experienced each other's stinky sides. Perhaps 3 servings of Mac night was not the best night to get this started, but hey, at least now she's experienced the worst possible version. If she's a keeper, she'll eventually, after cleansing her lungs, be able to laugh, cry and make fun of you for it. If she's utterly disgusted by your farts, what's going to happen if you're projectile vomiting one day? Is she going to stay at the furthest reaches away from you while you suffer? Couple that farts together, stays together. Probably good you got that out of your system before the wedding. To paraphrase an old adage, if you love Mac, let em rip, and if she truly loves you, she won't jump ship. Today I fucked up and accidentally shit during sex. 31F. This afternoon, my husband and I went to our favorite coffee shop. We needed a little afternoon pick-me-up as I had spent the weekend deep cleaning our home and my husband had finished 2 rigorous days of landscaping our yard. While masklessly, did I just make a new adverb? Enjoying our coffee, my husband started suggesting adult activities for when we returned home, and we were in the car a few minutes later. Once home, I felt the bathroom effects of consuming caffeine, but it wasn't that strong and I decided to ignore it. That is where I fucked up. My husband took his position, I grabbed my THC pen and took a long pre-coital drag, glanced over at the dog watching us on the bed, and prepared for some sexy chill time. My husband and I have been together for 9 years, so things take off like a pilot leaving his hub, and I dig my heels into the bed as I feel the pressure build. Crash, bang, brain sparkles, sigh, we have hit a home run. I return to earth and glance at my husband whose face is frozen. The only words out of his mouth are, "Oh shit, did I start my period? Nah, I've got a few days to go." What else could it be? Oh fuck, did I poop? I asked, immediately sober. I didn't need an answer as my husband began gently repeating these 3 phrases for the next several minutes. It's okay, don't cry, it's just a little bit. I handled it pretty well. Like a roaring emotional wildfire, I immediately became engulfed in tears, hands covering my face as if there isn't a brown Halley's comet of poo originating from my ass on my linen duvet. I just shit myself during sex. I'm too young for this. What did I do to deserve this weird experience of pleasure and humiliation? At least I know I'm not turned on by this. Is this how my marriage ends? Do I have enough airline points to relocate to another city? I could change my name to Alex. While my husband is still chanting the nervous husband's prayer, I shift into the fetal position and beg him to leave the room. He does, then comes right back, still chanting. Then he leaves again, comes back holding flushable wipes and tries to clean me. God damn it, just get out. I gurgled out between sobs. I'll take a quick pause here and tell you about my favorite all-natural intestinal cleansing supplement that I tell everyone about and take almost nightly. It's called Oxy Powder, and it's the best thing ever if you have bathroom problems. I'm no novice to the powder, I've taken it for years and only had one close call when I got caught in a hailstorm on the highway and all of my insides wanted to be on the outside thanks to my old pal, Anxiety Belly. If you want to entertain yourself for a while, read the Amazon reviews. This experience did not ruin Oxy Powder for me, but it did break me like a wild horse. I was on borrowed time and chose to try my luck prior to getting naked. I will now bow in the presence of the bottle and respect the power it holds. Commercial over /. After a few rounds of me shouting for my husband to leave me alone, he does, and I take my blubbering, shit-smeared self to the bathroom and commence clean up. Remember how I said I spent 2 days cleaning our house? I washed the duvet and cover twice in those 2 days. Once for normal purposes, a second time because our yellow lab with a shifty bladder tinkled in her sleep. Fuck it, washing it a third time. My angel of a husband comes back in our room and starts helping me undo the buttons to the bedding and attempts to hug me while I am still heaving and crying. Thankfully, he avoids eye contact and we silently walk the bedding into the laundry room where I drip tears as I douse the comet stain in spray and wash. I then ask for some privacy while I shower, he agreed, and I now get some time to piece my whole life back together. What was life like before I shit the bed as a 31-year-old? Oh, right, COVID. In the shower I daydreamed of my husband having his things packed and being gone when I got out. I would appreciate his deep understanding of my mortally wounded soul. We would never have to speak of this again and my brain could do what it does best and compartmentalize the fuck out of this situation. I get out, towel off, get fresh clothes, and do my 5-step nightly skincare routine. I put on a few self-tanning drops hoping it would fix everything. Maybe he would see my natural glow and not think of the time he had his hand covered in his wife's poop. Maybe not. Ugh, I hate this. I'm still a bad bitch, I say to myself as I apply wrinkle cream to my swollen eyes and busted capillaries. Bracing for human contact, I walk out of our room and find my husband in the living room changing the AC filters while still completely naked. This is the moment I knew I married the right man. But, I am now also concerned for his mental well-being. His thought process went as follows. Give wife orgasm. Wife shit on my hand. /wash hands /. I better change the AC filters. What? The man is panicking. Spiraling. This is classic bro, I've seen too much behavior. Is this how trauma forms? / taking a mental note to bring this up in therapy /. Before I sat down to write this story down, my husband and I stood in the kitchen while I threw away some washcloths that were frontline workers during the cleanup effort. My husband asks if I want to light a candle while he pours several glugs of Tito's vodka into a large Yeti cup. He knows me, candles make things better. I grab a bag of puffy Cheetos and annihilate / the bag while typing. We have spoken only about 12 words to each other since this event began, and he sweetly asks me what I'm typing. Without cracking a smile, I look at him stone-faced and respond, I'm writing this all down while it's still fresh because it's hilarious and I'm not ready to talk about it. He smirks on one side of his mouth, stifles a giggle and says okay, poopy. So, if you need me I'll be in solitude for the remainder of time with my poop pills. / rolls eyes and hits pen / Too long didn't read. I ignored the urge to poop before having sex, proceeded to shit myself. Husband handles it appropriately. Edits. Ali's comet. Masklessly is an adverb, thank you and my bad. In response to common things / questions, I'm aware that my husband is awesome and I'm very grateful for him. I do not work for Oxy Powder, but I'll be ready when they ask. I'm sorry about the flushable wipes, I'll do better. Many of you don't like having sex with your pet around. I am aware of my food allergies / intolerances. Thank you for your concern. This supplement is simply magnesium to help with frequency / bloating. Wow, can I talk about my bowel health more? I didn't intend to kink shame, I just learned something for myself through this experience. For those saying I overreacted, this entire saga lasted maybe 20 minutes and I stopped crying while in the shower. I'm a sensitive soul that's been under work pressure recently. The tears were a mixed bag. It's not like I sat in my comet streaks and cried for any longer than necessary. Thank you for all the love and kind words about my shitty story. I am not a writer, just a hairstylist with an active imagination that used to write for fun. It has been fun to laugh with you in the comments. Both myself and Mr. Alex have been thoroughly entertained. I knew I could count on you, Reddit. I'll respond more when I can. Alex. Today I fucked up by drinking coffee my wife made and transcending to become a beam of pure light and energy. My wife is a very smart woman, but does some derpy things on occasion, or daily. I still love her though and I'm just as bad. A few weeks ago my wife made some morning coffee in our big coffee pot for me since she's been trying to drink more tea. I slowly got out of bed, poured myself a cup of coffee with a bunch of chocolate milk and proceeded to gag at the first slurp of the black sludge. Thought it was me, so tried to drink more of it but ended up adding a ton more chocolate milk to it to make it palatable. I instantly start to sweat, get anxious, etc. So proceed to eat breakfast thinking my empty stomach is the problem. I drink a little more coffee before deciding that something is wrong. I shouldn't feel this anxious and sick to my stomach already with a few sips of coffee, and it shouldn't be this thick and sludge-like. I don't feel good and am sweating profusely. Next, go to the coffee pot to see what she did. I lifted the lid up and to my surprise, there is just an empty coffee filter. WTF, where are the coffee grounds? I look around trying to figure out what the hell happened to the coffee grounds before I realize, my wife didn't use the normal coffee, she literally filled the filter full of instant coffee grounds that were sitting on the shelf for camping and turned it on. There is a reason I mostly cook. Too long didn't read. Wife filled the coffee pot filter with instant coffee grounds instead of normal coffee. Thought I was going to die.